welcome to my first full product review. I will be reviewing this VIFLY X150 FPV quadcopter sent to me by VIFLYDrone.com. I want to send a big shout out and thanks to John for contacting me on Facebook and inviting me to the Facebook VIFLY Drone group to get in touch with the company and be able to do this review. I'm very appreciative, and I think that we will have a lot of fun with this machine and this review. So everybody stay tuned here, and we're going to take a look at some really cool parts. Okay, first off, I want to do a quick overview of the manual. As you can see, it's actually pretty nice, pretty decent quick start guide. They go through and explain the construction of the machine. They give you some legends to point out what some of the components are: the cameras, headlights, propellers, video transmitter, and power button, and DFU button, things like that. You got your tail light, a battery mount, video transmitter, antenna, etc., etc. All that kind of stuff is pretty self-explanatory in your normal type of manual. They do explain their radio link transmitter that comes with the ready-to-fly version. I have the plug and play or bind and fly version for FlySky, so none of that stuff applies to me, although you could get some pretty useful information here if you need it. They do have some information on how to bind the FlySky transmitter or a FRSky transmitter or a Spectrum transmitter, things like that. They do have some of that information if you need it. Explain installing the propellers. They do send you a wrench for the nuts in the package. It's actually a pretty nice wrench. Most of them aren't that good. This one's pretty decent. Goes through and tells you a quick start guide on how to arm it. Personally, I go through and change my arming to different switches and things like that, so that stuff doesn't pertain to me either. Video transmitter tells you your channels, how to change channels, and how to change your power settings from 25 to 200 to 600 milliwatts. Got you some product specifications in here: the size, the weight, 174 grams minus the battery. This is a pretty awesome machine. Give you a good overview of the actual machine now, so you can get a look at it. I have done an unboxing video, and I have done initial flight videos before this review. So if you would like to see those, I will have links in the description below to see the first initial impression videos and things like that. Alright, let's get started here. First of all, we'll start with the frame. The frame on this machine is 150 millimeters from center to center. It fits 4-inch propellers. It does have provisions for a GoPro or a small camera if you would like to carry one. Some racing organizations and things require that you have one. You could put a different style antenna that I'm using and go ahead and put yourself an action cam on top. The frame itself is carbon fiber. It's a very nice, has a nice chamfered edges. There's no sharp points at all on this carbon fiber. It's very, very well done, very well built. It's got 6 millimeter wide by 5 millimeter thick arms. They're very strong and durable. I've crashed it several times very hard at full speed, and I've had no problems with durability at this point. I did bend my camera mount sideways once, and I had to loosen the screws and bend it all back into shape and tighten it back up. It is made out of a plastic or a nylon material, so it's fairly strong, but if you hit it hard enough, it will shift, and then you see one motor and you don't see the other motor in your camera and things like that. So you may have, have to do things like that. That's normal maintenance. All Alright, so that's a little overview of the frame. Now let's talk about the motors a bit. It's got the VIFLY racing motors on it. They're branded VIFLY 1406 3300 kV. They're made by Sunny Sky Racing. They're very, very powerful, very smooth, and very quiet. You almost can't hear it idle at all. Pretty impressed with these motors so far. It does have clockwise and counterclockwise prop nuts. I prefer this style actually because they self-tighten as the propeller spins. The counterclockwise ones tighten up and the clockwise ones tighten up. I have installed self-locking nuts. They're aluminum. It does come originally with steel nuts, but they do work fine. I just prefer the self-locking style, so I went ahead and put those on. Got a XT30 connector to hook to your battery, so you're going to need a battery with XT30, not XT60. Starting at the bottom, we'll look at the power distribution board and ESC combination. This is unique to this machine. Obviously, it's this octagon shape. It does not look reminiscent to any other power distribution boards that I've messed with in the past. It's very interesting the way they've got each corner set up for the motor. So you just solder your motor wire right one to each corner and you're good to go. So if you have to replace a motor, it's a simple process of moving 3 wires, take out the screws and put a new motor on and solder it right back on. You don't have to take anything else apart. So that's a very innovative and good idea. We go up to the next part of the stack and you're looking at the flight controller. The flight controller has a USB dongle on the back so you can adjust your beta flight settings and access your ESC controls for BL-HELIS and things like that. It's got BL-HELIS with D-Shot 600, 20 amp ESCs for each motor. That's pretty impressive for a machine this small to have 20 amp ESCs. Did not expect to see that. That's the same as most 2205 powered 5-inch quads come with, and this is a 4-inch quad, so you shouldn't have any problems with the power output with that ESC. The flight controller is an F4. It has built-in Betaflight OSD so that you do not have to worry about your voltage, things like that, so you can get your good readings. The next step up the stack is the VTX. That is a multi-power selectable through the switch here on the side. You get 25, 200, or 600 milliwatts. It's got a bunch of channels, a bunch of settings. You can do all kinds of things with it, and it works real nice. So far, I'm pretty impressed with it. I've had real good reception, really good range. Set on 600 milliwatts, I can fly it so far that I'm afraid that I'm not going to have good enough reception from my transmitter. So, I mean, I got more than enough video range without any issues. Probably 200 milliwatts is going to be plenty for the type of receiver that you're going to use in this type of machine, unless you would go to like a micro crossfire or something like that, but I don't see much point with something like built like this. Okay, the camera is a Foxeer micro Aero CCD 1/3 sensor camera. It is very, very good. I would say it is on par with the Runcam Swift 2, if not better. I've been using the Swift 2 for a long time. I know I've got this in a funny case here, but anyways, it's a Swift 2. I've been using that with my big quads for a long time, and it's real good. But in the dark, or in low light conditions, it doesn't hold a candle to this Foxeer Micro Aero. This is way better. I haven't touched the settings. I don't know for sure if you can access it through the Betaflight controls or not. It does have the capabilities on the camera. I can see that it's got the wiring available. I don't know if it's incorporated, so I'll have to do a little research to figure that out. That's something I'm not too worried about because the stock settings on the camera are awesome. Works great in the daytime, works great at night, works great in the dark. I'm real impressed with that camera, so I don't think you'll have much trouble with that. I've got, as you can see, I've got a TBS Triumph on here. It comes originally with this mushroom antenna that's reminiscent of a Fat Shark or the Foxeer style antennas. I think it's probably about the same thing inside as what this little stubby is, but my stubby is a bit shorter, so I stuffed that on there just because I've got extra ones laying around. performance-wise, this machine is on par with my 5-inch Sharpoo with 2207 2600 kV motors. In fact, I think if I was on a racetrack, I could beat myself with this machine. I don't think this one will keep up with this one because it's so much heavier. You're looking at 330, 340 grams here versus 175 grams here. With this battery on this unit, even I actually have a small DVR that I've incorporated into the side, just wired it right into the video transmitter so that I can record DVR without static as I fly. It's just velcroed to my strap. So even with that installed, this unit weighs right now, ready to fly, 248 grams. Hope you can see that. Sorry, I know I have a bit of an odd setup for my review here. 248 grams. So this is no FAA registration. At under 250 grams, you don't have to register. You can fly it, take it to wherever park you want, and have a blast with it, and nobody can give you any flack because the FAA does not consider this a hobby grade machine. They consider it a toy due to the weight. So it's just as fast as my 5-inch. Maybe not top speed with 5S. The 5-inch probably will beat it top speed with a 5S. But anywhere under 100 miles an hour, and in any type of situation where you need to have agility, this machine will walk all over that. This cost me over $300 just for the parts. This is under $200 ready to go. This is a way better deal. This is going to make this type of a build obsolete, in my opinion. I would much rather shell out $200 and have another one of these that does maybe 100 miles an hour on a 4-cell battery than ever touch something like that. They're marketing this as the world's fastest sub 250 gram quadcopter, and I have to agree. There is no other comparison to this machine. You could look at a Diatone Tyrant 150 and it weighs 200 grams without the battery. So there's no way you're going to keep up with this. You can't put enough battery on it to go fast enough to keep up with this machine because of the weight and stay under 250 grams. Now, obviously, there are, you know, your floss builds and things like that with bigger motors that are going to be faster than this, but you're talking 3-4 times the money. Now, as far as scratch built like something like this, there's nothing built like this for under $500 that will touch this. This machine will walk all over that machine. There's no doubt in my mind. The videos, my flight videos within a week already prove it to me. And it's going to get better and better, and I'm going to keep tuning on it. I've got some PIDs in it now that work real good with a 4-cell. It did come originally with default Betaflight PIDs. That was a bit too high on the gains, a bit too high on the D gains and the P gains for 4S. I imagine if you used a 550 milliamp hour 4S like they use and suggest for the machine in their documentation, it's under 250 grams at that point, and I don't think the output would be quite as drastic. But personally, I use a Tattoo 850 milliamp hour 4S 75C with this, which puts it over 250 grams, but I am a registered pilot, so it doesn't matter. With this battery, it's pretty hot, so it was pretty schizo and kind of crazy a little bit, and so I dropped my PIDs down. Oh baby, does it fly beautiful now. You're going to see here in just a minute because I'm going to put some flight footage on right after I get done with this discussion. I would say, you know, the target audience that they're looking to sell this drone to would be like your multi-GP racing pilots, people like that that don't have time to be building something new all the time, but they want to race, or someone that doesn't have the ability to build a quadcopter possibly, but they're a good pilot. You could take something like this and you could legit win races just with it original, just stock, the way it is. Now, I've changed my propellers a few times with it. These here are kind of a mid-grade propeller. These are a J4045 Dal prop. The original propellers that come with it are the T4045 dowel prop, which is kind of a bullnose, and they're a lot heavier weight. These are smoother, they hold a line better, and they're easier to fly. But these are quicker, snappier, and are better in freestyle. So that's why I like the lighter prop with my style of flying. I also tried the HQ 4x4.3, and it is extremely light and extremely zippy, very fast, quick, but I do not like the noise that it makes. It makes a very odd whistling noise. I don't know why, but if I get rid of those and run the dowel props, I don't have that problem. So I would suggest sticking with either the stock prop for a smooth flight, or go to a dowel prop J series, or possibly a Cyclone 4-inch. Then you would probably have some more spirited ability without the stupid noise of these and the tuning problems, because these didn't want to tune nearly as easy as either of these props did. So there's a little overview on what I did with the props. This DVR, what I've done here is basically I have a micro DVR unit that you can buy to hook to any goggles, and I took the wire and I hooked a power to power and the ground to the ground, and the video signal to the video signal of my VTX, and I have a nice clean video without having to have the goggles DVR running. That way I don't get the static. So that's a real simple, easy mod to do. You can actually, if you look in on top of this board next to this where I've got these soldered, it tells you what each one of those pins actually is. 5 volts, ground, video, etc., etc. So that was a real simple modification to make, and you're about to see the footage right now. So I mean, that's my review. I'm going to say, you know, in this class, in this category, this is the only quadcopter in the game right now. There is nothing else on the market you can buy that's 250 grams or less in flight, just like this is. With this 3-cell battery, this thing is just as quick and fun as this machine is all day long. With a 4-cell, it's faster than this is with a 4-cell. So that gives you an idea of the power output that you can expect. The target audience, like I was saying before, is probably racers, but what I'm going to say is I love the way this thing freestyles. It's super smooth, it's super agile, and it does things so much easier than a big quad does because of the lightness and the power to weight ratio, the pop, the zip, the snap. I've not flown anything like this before. I had a Wizard X220 when I first started this hobby. I built 6 or 7 different quads since the Wizard. None of them gave me the experience that this does right away, first off. So I'm going to put up a video now of flying this with a 4-cell with the onboard DVR, and I'm going to dub in the sound from my GoPro so you can hear what it sounds like, and that's going to be my review, guys. All I can say about this thing is big thumbs up. Just go buy one and fly it. You'll never forget it. It's the greatest epiphany I've had since I've been flying FPV. www.viflydrone.com. Go get you some.